This is a very exciting development for the Vancouver Canucks as one KHL prospect continues to dominate, leaving a lot of questions around management and the perfect path to get them within this organization. Plus, we dive into an update as they have an even bigger decision heading into this year's draft on who to choose with the first overall pick, as we're also going to dive into the Vancouver Canucks' perfect path to secure the top odds to land Gavin McKenna or Ivor Stenberg. We're going to break down everything you need to know on this defensive KHL prospect that is setting off great numbers within their season, and an update on the draft, plus so much more in this episode. You're not going to want to miss it. Before we get into that, I just want to give a huge shout out to everyone watching. If you're part of the 59% watching this right now and you haven't hit that free subscribe button, make sure to go down and hit it. We're just 80 away from reaching our goal of 9,000 subscribers. So if you want to stay up to date on everything to do around the Vancouver Canucks, from prospects, trades, drafts, anything you can think of, you can catch right here on Canucks Digest, and it's completely free. If you're watching on Facebook, hit that follow button as well. It means the world. Now, of course, the Vancouver Canucks have a lot of top prospects. Braden Coots dominating in the WHL as he continues his push to win the playoffs, but there is one forgotten Canucks prospect that did come back in a trade just this past offseason, where we do see Ilya Safonov is scored in double overtime to give his team a 3-1 demanding lead over Tractor. Now, with this player, it's going to be very interesting. Looking at a lot of KHL guys, of course, Kravtsov did not work out within the Canucks organization, but this is one of the guys that it's going to be interesting on how the Vancouver Canucks handle the 24-year-old who's putting up a reasonable 33 points in 68 games in the KHL. A former 6th-round pick by the Chicago Blackhawks. This is a very interesting player. And listen, I probably pronounced his name wrong, but getting him into the system would be a great sign for the Canucks as they look at this youth movement. Now, this trade alone is one where the Vancouver Canucks give up future considerations, the most traded player of all time, where we do see with the Chicago Blackhawks at the draft. Looking in deeper at the player, a smart defensive first type player and an excellent penalty killer with a big frame that sees the ice well. He makes good decisions with and without the puck and tends to be in the right place at the right time. There's potential for more of a two-way player within the right situation. Now, with him and Chicago, they traded him as they weren't sure if they had a clear picture on getting him over to North America. We could see the report coming out this past summer where he did sign his one-year extension in the KHL to continue facing and trying to fight to win a cup. But at the end of the day, a 24-year-old left-handed center winger, whatever you want to call him, this is the perfect player to get within the organization, especially as the Canucks are heading into this rebuild. Of course, a lot of the players within this team are still very young. You have Marco Rossi, a 24-year-old centerman. You have other guys that are going to take the next step. And I mean, looking at the current team, you have a lot of youth. 22-year-old Liam Olgren. Rossi is only 24 years old. Aturatu, 23. Even Curtis Douglas, who had one of the funnest fights, what was it, a combined of 477 pounds in their last game versus Calgary. This is the team that has a lot of youth within the team, and getting them over and into the lineup might be the trickiest thing, which is funny to say. Looking at the Canucks next year, down the middle with Filipinos' health, of course, being a big question mark moving into next season. But this is a team that down the middle, without even signing Teddy Bluger, you have 4 centermen that can compete in the NHL. Now, looking at other guys looking for promotion, of course, Braden Coots is a name that wants to battle in camp to get into this Canucks team. Jonathan Lekkerimäki, who sadly did have a season-ending shoulder surgery, will try to get into the lineup as well. But looking at the team, you have a lot of veterans still on the team. There's so much talk of Jake DeBrusk and the possible move in this offseason. There's guys like Drew O'Connor, who has incredible value at the moment if the Vancouver Canucks move on from one of these guys. Niels Höglander, big hog, everyone loves him. But if the Canucks are looking to open up a spot to get in the young Russian winger, this is the perfect example where you can get him into the lineup. Is his value gets higher and you want to trade him before signing another deal, you can get more draft capital. If he joins this group 24 years old and you compete in 4 years, he'll be 28 years old, a defensive responsible guy, of course, on KHL ice and not in North America. But I think it opens up a very interesting realm for the Vancouver Canucks to get a young piece over that, of course, cost them absolutely nothing with future considerations, but you could get him into this lineup and maybe get something out of him. If you get him in and he turns into a bottom 6 forward, that's perfect. You got a free player. At the very worst, you're back in the Kravtsov situation and he walks right back to the KHL. But I think this is going to be a player to watch on his ELC as he continues to battle through the KHL playoffs if they get eliminated. And when they do, maybe we get the ELC signed within the Canucks organization to play with them or Abbotsford. But it's going to be fun to see where this goes. But diving into, of course, next season, the Vancouver Canucks are looking at one thing now, and that is the first overall pick. Tyson Cole went out to say the regulation loss versus Calgary focus will now be on tomorrow's town scoreboards. With the win on Vancouver, Calgary cannot catch the Canucks for last spot, and when looking at the standings, I believe the only way that teams can catch the Canucks is if the Canucks win their next game, but the Canucks can secure that final spot and the best odds to land the first overall pick if New York wins their next game and the Vancouver Canucks lose their next game, and Chicago would have to win as well. But at the moment, and of course this is a little data because Calgary's on a bit of a run now, the Vancouver Canucks have a 56.3% chance to get the third pick, 18.6 to get the second, and 25.1, by far the best in the NHL, secure the top spot in the draft. Now, a lot of people are going to look at this and say, hey, the Canucks are going to get the third. We're haunted, but going optimistic. This is a team where you're going to land either the first or the second, and either way, you're coming out with an incredible prospect in Gavin McKenna or Ivor Stenberg. Listen, if the Canucks get second and you get a guy and he turns in incredible, then you look at this management group and you say, perfect, we got the right guy. If you get the first and you take the wrong guy, things can look bad, but listen, optimism here. The Vancouver Canucks are going to get Gavin McKenna or, of course, Ivor Stenberg heading into the draft. Now, it's going to be one of the situations. I look at this as the Taylor-Tyler draft. The Taylor Hall-Tyler Sagan, where everyone looked and said, this guy should go first, not this guy. But looking between the two prospects, Gavin McKenna with Penn State, 51 points, 35 games played, 15 goals, a -7, but that's besides the point. Gavin McKenna is a Canadian-born winger that, of course, could step into the Canucks team and has a super high ceiling. Looking at Ivor Stenberg, the Swedish star, currently in the playoffs, 4 points in 3 games, 33 points in 43 games, one of the best U18 seasons we've seen in SHLCZ. It's just behind Daniel Sedin and Henrik Sedin and a couple other Canucks legends, because we know this team loves their Swedes. But at the end of the day, in my personal opinion, and of course, I am not a scout for an NHL team, but looking at the two, Ivor Stenberg truly feels like the best floor in the draft. You get this guy and you know what you're getting. He's going to come in as a top 6 player within an organization, and Gavin McKenna feels like one of the guys that might have a lower floor, but someone that has higher potential. Let me know what your guys' thoughts on the entire draft. Who would you take one? I know Gavin McKenna is going to be the consensus, but Ivor Stenberg is making a very good case. What's your thoughts on Ilya playing in the KHL and is possible joining the Vancouver Canucks going into next year? Down in the comments, because I love reading through them. But I've been your host, Mark Pye. I hope you guys enjoyed the weekend, and take care, Canucks fans. See you in the next one.